welcome back to my channel. Now this is going to be a very quick, a little bit of washi tip. I say very quick, I'll probably make it ridiculously long, video of how I frame my paintings once they're complete. So I figured with Dark Lilith just being finished, she's the perfect one to try. In the background, I do have a rowdy Phil Golden puppy, also known as Jessie. I like to call her Rabid. And we've also got Charlie, who's just along for the ride. So yeah, you'll hear toys squeaking, you'll hear dogs chasing each other, the usual, but they are okay. Charlie maybe not so much, but hey. So the only things that you kind of need are the frame itself for these, a baby, what are these called? Staple gun, that's the one. And then a big pair of scissors. Now these are Huskies, so I got these from Home Depot when we were decorating, but they're really good for thicker material. So yeah, so we're just gonna do that. I don't think I need anything else. So how I start this with, oh, and I get these from Amazon. So they come as this, is like thing, unless you get multiple in a pack, which I did for this size. So this will end up lining pretty much right along with the size of Dark Lilith. Normally you can get away with the painting being a little bit smaller, being a little bit bigger than the frame. Let me just push it up. Being a little bit bigger than the frame. But that's how that tends to work. Let me see if I need to zoom that out a little bit more. Okay, that might work. All right. So, yeah, as you can tell, I just woke up, so they've got all the energy in the world. All right. So the first things that we do is we cut the full side off. Now, it's a little bit trickier because obviously you have the drills sometimes that hang kind of over the edge. There is a way that I do it that it ends up being easier. If I could ever remember that, then that would be cool. So literally just... Now with this one being also a similar, you can glide, it is this way, okay. Also with this being the similar size to the frame, be careful where you cut at the bottom, because if you cut too short, it gives it less to hang on to with the poster hanger. Not that it ends up being too much of a problem, but you don't want to like run the risk of having less for the frame to be stapled to. Now I'm trying not to take any drills with me but you can neaten this up with a smaller pair of scissors at the end, which sometimes I've had to do because I care and things like that. But to demonstrate, it's not like the worst thing in the world. So I tried the method before of like where people paint the edge, and I couldn't get it simply because I was trying to use paint that was like really watery. It wasn't covering anything, and it ended up being too long of a process. All right, now we do the exact same on the other side. I'm not doing one of them Fandangle videos where I edit that I've already done it, because that means I have to edit longer than I would like. But if you do it where you're holding onto this too, you can get a glide sometimes, like how you would with you know, like wrapping paper and things like that. Come on. No, I don't want the drills. Be nice to Mama, it's too early. Hey, is somebody throwing up? Oh, it's too early for that too. So Jessie started shoeing my slippers now, which are now firmly on my feet, because my husband got me them for Christmas, and I'm like, you are not doing that. All right, now I'm left-handed, so getting that glide sometimes is thing, and I've just woken up, so my knuckles are pretty big from the arthritis. And because I've had a month of just solidly pushing paintings, and there they go. And they kind of screamed at me. All right, so now that we've got the bases done, normally what I would do is I would mark along here where, so obviously you have the two magnetic strips. So I would mark along here and I've said this in another video, I would then, if it was a bigger canvas and I had excess white here, I would just use my scissors to trim right next to the wood on both sides. And then I would cut that little square out. So then I would fold down this. And as it's the same size, it's a shame, but I would then match up where that landed top to bottom, where that little cut landed, so that you get it even with the top and the bottom. And it's the quickest way to do it while still being effective. Now this is where I put underneath the canvas, I put it to as close as possible, because even when you put this on the top, you can sometimes still see a white line if you've not kind of put the magnet up far enough. Oh dear. Hey, Jesse. Give him a break, man. So then once you've found a spot that you're happy with where you can staple into the wood and not the painting, that's something else you've got to be careful of, is that, I'll bring this up, I forgot I'd moved it, that when you line it, if you get, I would zoom in but I can't, if you get too close to the very bottom line of your drills, you need to move it a little bit lower down, because you are going to have to staple into it, and naturally you don't want to staple into the drills, which sometimes you can do if the wood's too high up underneath, which you can tell if you press a little bit as to where it kind of is. This dog is rabbit. And then try not to move it too much once you've got it into a position. Then just use this. And I know you're probably wondering about the overhang of the white, but there is a really easy solution, but it's easier once you've stapled it on. And once you've got used to this, it is a really quick process. And just measure the painting with how you feel. Obviously, you don't want it to burr as you're putting it together. Now, I'll do this here because normally I would do this after I've done the other one. So now the wood's attached, but you've got this overhang. Literally, this is where the scissors come in. And with this, you really can't mess up, because you're already stapled down, it's not coming off. And then you want to make sure that you cut it lower than the wood, which I definitely have, but again, you can get that glide going. And then, there you go. And then you pop on. When you do press it like that, you can see white, but that's the bottom part. Now I'll go ahead and do the same with the top, because the top obviously has the rope for where you're gonna hang. Now that Lilith is actually going in mine and my husband's. No, it didn't break. What you doing? Okay, that's never happened before. So this is actually just come out of the wood as I've unpackaged it, which is really annoying. But it is quite easy to put back in. Naturally, I've never had that happen before, even with the amount I've done, but you can just pop it back into the little grooves. And as long as it's under the knots secure underneath, I'll show you, then you should be good. What in the world? I almost effed then, but I'm trying to keep this a friendly video. Oh, I might have to staple that in. That's ridiculous. Okay, that's fine. So this is the one you need facing the back, because it has the hanger. I don't put the hanger on the front, because then you overweight the painting, and then there's a risk of it pulling forwards off the wall. So again, you want to level up the wood, which actually looks pretty good from the get. And I'm hoping if this thing allows me, I can trying to put a staple over the string, but not next to the magnet. You can tell where the magnet is because it like there, there's a magnet. So you can end up finding where is the best to actually put the staples. Now again, I got the staple gun off Amazon. I think it was about $10, and you get a load of staples included. Praying I don't run out. But like I said, you just need a row across just to make sure it's secure. Now that is safe. It does have a handle where you can put the handle down and then in if you are around kids. So now that they can't touch that. Then we go ahead and put this one. And like I said, it's just going to be a very quick video because I simply wanted to kind of show how, obviously we just got to make sure that we don't get the string in this one. Oh yeah, you can see. I was hoping that now the top ones do make me a little bit more nervous because of the string, so sometimes I do have to go in and cut a little bit more of the white off. But again, it's just one of those things that when you're doing this, you'll end up learning as you go. And at the top, to be honest, you can't really see it. Now don't do what I'm doing and put your hand in front in case you think, or just don't film it like an idiot like I am. Nope. See, I almost cut the string. So you do have to be a little bit more careful at the top. And there's probably, like I said, you'll get a rhythm going and you'll be completely used to it. And again, we just press this one on. And she's now ready to hang. So I hope that was a little bit helpful. And I find this, so I don't hang these up where I have any moisture so they don't go in the bathroom. I do put those in an actual frame. But the colours of this one will go in our room because it's like white and a little bit of blue. But yeah, I hope that was helpful. It's a really inexpensive way of framing your work. All right, guys, thank you. I'll see you in the next one.